The first job we need to do today is to delateral the tomatoes and remove any of the unwanted leaves. We do it on a day like today that's got clear blue skies and a slight breeze because it's less humid. And with the humidity can come problems like blight and other diseases on your tomatoes. This tomato plant already has 2 clear leaders. And these are the leaders we want to grow up our pole. Any other leaders that come from this plant we want to remove. We also have some flowers and fruit forming on the plant. If you feel your plant isn't strong enough, you can remove this at this point. But these plants seem to be growing fine, so I'm going to leave them on. In this case here, this leader, it's divided into 2. I'm going to take one of these leaders out. Also, some of the lower leaves can come off now, so there's more air movement around the plant. By turning it down and then up, we should be able to remove them easily. Same with any of these lower leaves that are starting to curl. The curling of the leaves are not a problem, it's just a sign of cold weather or wind. Try and remove these small laterals as soon as you can. The smaller the laterals, the smaller the wound and less chance of disease getting into the plant. Again, using soft tie, which does less damage to the tomatoes if it's windy. And our tie from before has become very sloppy, so we're going to tighten that up and just make sure there's lots of support for those new tomatoes that are forming. And because we've neglected the tomatoes and we've got some big wounds, it's often good as a preventative to use flowers of sulphur on those wounds. It will stop things like your blight and other disease entering your tomato plant. I find the easiest way is to just get an old paintbrush and paint them on. With a tomato plant like this, it's difficult to know where to start. It's got laterals all over the place. So what we do is we find our 2 strongest laterals and work from there. I find it's easy to start with removing some of the lower leaves so we can see them better. We'll take the tomato leaf off by pushing it up and then turning it down, and it breaks off easily. Again, any laterals that are in there, they can come out straight away. A lateral is something that will turn into a new leader, and we only want 2 per pole, so we're taking them out. So now it's forming some shape, and I can see this is going to be one main leader, and this one here will be my second. All the other leaders now have to come off. We'll take all of these other laterals out, and all the other lower leaves out as well. And any lateral you take out of your tomato plant, if you plant it straight in the ground, it'll turn into another plant. I'll keep removing some of these lower leaves and laterals. And remember, removing too many leaves is not a problem. They will grow back. So now we can see the 2 main leaders and we can tie them up. As we've created big wounds, we're going to make sure we paint our flowers of sulphur on. And now underneath here, we've got some good air movement. With this one here, we've still got to find our 2 leaders, and it's got quite a few. The first thing I will look for is the 2 strongest of all, and I think I'll use this leader here and this leader here. The reason we don't want it growing on the ground is because if we do have humid conditions and the soil is wet, it can cause blight with the plant. So we'll start taking out some of these leaders and some of these lower leaves. And remember, if you're a smoker, it's best to wear gloves while delateraling the tomatoes. By smoking cigarettes, you can carry a disease in your fingers called tobacco virus. And if one plant gets a tobacco virus, it'll wipe out your whole tomato crop.